Hello and welcome to the third installment of the Should You Play series, where I revisit once popular games to see if they're worth playing again. This episode is all about Overwatch, a vibrant, team-based shooter set on a near-future Earth. This episode consists out of 6 topics. The first one is the introduction, and will briefly explain the reason for its rise and eventual fall from grace. The second topic will address the new additions since their peak in popularity. The following 3 topics are the good, neutral and bad aspects of the current game, and last but not least, a short video summary for those of you that don't like explanations. Before I begin with this video, make sure to subscribe to not miss out on any future content, be it this series or any of my other weird shit. If you disagree with a point made in the video, or wish for a better explanation, don't be afraid to leave a comment. I tend to respond to all of them. And with that out of the way, it's time to start the video. Overwatch's hype saw a huge spike on its release day May 3rd, 2016. Blizzard ran a successful marketing campaign, and the game's unique charm certainly made it stand out compared to the competition at that time. Although this chart might suggest that many people lost interest quickly, we are still talking about millions of potential players here. It was around January 2018 when the game started to go downhill. If I went into every detail about Overwatch's downfall, the video would be well over 2 hours long. There were huge factors both inside and outside of the game. For example, the Mercy rework was a completely unnecessary change to the loved healer. The introduction of Brigitte made people uninstall. They put way too much attention into pro leagues and less into the base game. And finally, all of the boycotts towards Blizzard. Thankfully, Overwatch didn't change a lot throughout the past years. They've added an arcade, which is just a fancy way of saying a bunch of weekly rotating game modes. Completing a certain amount of arcade games will reward you with loot boxes and other cosmetic items. Another major change affected the game queue. You're now able to decide between role queue and open queue. Role queue allows you to choose what job you want to do in the game by locking the heroes of the other two. Open queue is just like the old queue, with players being free to decide what they want to choose. More on queues later. Sadly, not many heroes were added or reworked in the last few years. Plus the ones that did make the cut to be in the game aren't that exciting. You got a hamster who looks like a Craigslist GeForce member. Ash, who is probably featured on too many porn sites by now. Baptiste, who is okay, I guess. Sugma Balls. And Robo Bitch. I don't know what she does. No one plays her. The first thing I have to give Overwatch credit for is the concept of the game. The idea of a team-based shooter with unique characters is certainly something that made it popular to begin with. Not only visually and gameplay-wise, but also from a lore perspective. They have created unique profiles with intertwining stories for every hero. As someone who enjoys a video game's lore as much as, and sometimes even more than the game itself, I have to respect Blizzard for adding a well-designed storyline. It's not perfect by any means, but many things have been added or enhanced through PvE events that have occurred since its release back in 2016. I hope they continue to build upon this aspect in Overwatch 2. Overwatch is also pretty fun, in both competitive and casual lobbies, when you're playing with a group of friends. Many things I'm going to address here were once something positive, as they were unique when they were first released. However, since then, a large number of companies have taken inspiration from them. Things like play of the game are a cool concept, but in 9 out of 10 cases, they just show a hero using their ability to get a multi-kill. Another thing I have mixed feeling about is the medal system. If you're doing the most damage, you're gonna have a gold medal symbolizing it, followed by a silver and then a bronze. I feel like this isn't something that truly shows how well a person is doing. Because I too can just spam my entire ammo into the enemy team at a safe distance and get a gold medal for that. But would that be helpful? Not really. I honestly think that medals just increase toxic behavior, because people trust numbers more than, I don't know, maybe the game-winning objective. Overwatch is a game that, in my opinion, puts way too much effort into the way it should be played, rather than how it's actually played. Overwatch was designed to be a shooter that requires players to communicate and work together using unique abilities and ultimates to win skirmishes. However, that just isn't how it ultimately turned out to be. If you think of games that try to go down the same path as Overwatch, like CSGO, League of Legends, and even Valorant, you realize that this concept is only doable with people you know. All of the games I just listed also have a large number of toxic people that rather work alone than as a team. And even if you do try to motivate the team into working together, there's always that one guy who is delusional and won't listen. In my mind, it's no wonder why people enjoy combat more than playing the objective. What follows is a mentality that often leads to games being steamrolled, with the first team capturing the objective, often winning the game in a matter of seconds. Another issue that I have is role queue. I understand that the idea for role queue probably was meant to be a tool against people that insta-log their main, or maybe even as a way to deal with the tank meta. How dumb must you be to think that prevention is the best way to handle that problem? What do I mean by that? Well, let's put it this way. The only reason people abuse a new meta in the first place is because it rewards the player with either a win or some fun, and in many cases, even both. If you choose the way a player has to play the game by adding in restrictions and quite literally role queues, you're gonna run into some trouble when everyone wants to queue up as the thing that is currently sought after. But there's the priority pass that allows you to enter games faster. The priority pass doesn't do shit. You still have to wait in the queue longer than it takes me to upload. Oh, I like that joke. Maybe instead of taking away a player's free choice, how about balancing the game? And before you misunderstand me, I'm not talking about individual heroes here, but entire classes. Both tanks and supports are suffering from BHS. Boring hero syndrome. I don't enjoy playing any of these characters, and neither does the majority of the community. How can you have so many choices as a damage dealer and so little as a supportive role? I mean, it's no wonder why queuing up as a damage dealer in role queue takes almost half an hour and queuing up as something else only 12 seconds. Mind you, for a match that only takes about 3 minutes anyways. Also, role queue sort of forces you into playing the best character for the given situation, and not the one you actually want and love to play. If you do decide to play something you enjoy, oh boy, prepare for some nice sentences heading your way, and if you're lucky, maybe even a little trolling. Ultimately, I feel like the changes made by Blizzard just worsened the game. Many of the adaptations, both inside and outside of a match, were completely unnecessary and just added fuel to the already existing burning issue. At the end of the day, all of this is just a collection of my thoughts. Whether or not you do decide to play Overwatch again is your own decision. I personally didn't feel the same vibe as I did a few years back, so I didn't enjoy playing it. But who knows, maybe you will. And if you don't, there's still Overwatch 2. Whenever that's coming out anyways.